Thanks for staying with us on SABC News. Consumers are in for more banking options this year. 4 new banks are set to enter the market. They're all promising the latest way of doing business digitally, but the jury is still out on whether these new banks will revolutionize the way banking is done in South Africa. Currently, South Africa is dominated by Standard Bank, Absa, FirstRand Bank, Nedbank and Capitec.
In South Africa is about to get exciting. 4 new banks are set to enter the market. They promise to make banking more digital and guarantee lower banking fees. Discovery will be launching its banking offering in the middle of this year. So far, not much is known about the products that will be offered, but the company received authorization from the Registrar of Banks in October last year, subject to certain conditions. Next up is Time Digital. It was also granted a license to operate by the Reserve Bank. Its CEO, Sandile Shabalala, says Time Digital is going to be a simple bank that will not touch customers' data. He says financial education will be at the heart of the bank.
The way that we're going to offer banking facilities is that we're going to offer banking facilities to people on the platforms that they use. So if you have an iPhone, you have whatever phone or handset that you have, we're going to offer you banking facilities using that. But the way that we want to encourage people to use banking, we're going to zero-rate banking on our platforms. So you're not going to use data. So it's going to be cheap for people to use to bank. They don't need to go to the branch.
The bank says it will not have physical branches and it believes there's space in the market to serve emerging middle-class consumers and underserviced small and micro businesses.
If you pick and pay in your environment, you have a boxer, a sort of environment. Mostly in the rural environments, we have boxers. Yeah. People can go into those environments and open a bank account. What we're going to have as well is that, because it's new technology, you talk about the GoGos that are maybe not familiar with the technology. We're going to have people in store that's going to be there to assist people to open bank accounts.
Let's talk about cost. How much cheaper is it going to be?
Well, for now, I think it's going to be relatively cheap. We don't want to sort of divulge our costing at this stage, but you can easily understand we don't have a huge branch infrastructure. So all of the benefits will be given back to the customer. So it will be relatively cheap.
Shabalala says there is enough room for more banks as this gives the consumer greater choice.
So we believe that there's a lot of people in the South African banking environment that have got access to banking. However, they do not have the deep use of banking products and services. They don't understand them, so they are not able to take advantage of banking products and services in its fullest extent.
To look out for is called Zero. This one is also digital, being mostly app-based. It's expecting to launch in the 4th quarter of this year. It too believes that banking in the future will not done inside bricks and mortar.
Next one.
Finally, a not-so-new newcomer is the South African Post Bank. While this bank has been around for a long time, it's only expected to receive formal licensing this year. All along, it has been operating through an exemption in legislation which allowed it to take deposits without a license.
So what's happened now is we're regularizing the situation. We're getting a formal banking license.
Currently, the post office has savings products, electronic transfers, term deposits and transactional accounts. So, what will be different?
We're definitely going digital. We had a request for proposal process, or tender process, that's closing next week for a digital banking offering. We want to reduce costs for our customers, but we're also conscious that a lot of our customers are in rural areas where they don't have access to digital services and they need to have access to storefront banking, high street banking, and they also are target markets. It's not purely a digital offering. We want to also be servicing people in rural communities that don't have access to other banking services.
But the biggest advantage to the Post Bank is that some 17 million SASSA grant recipients will be receiving their grants through the Post Bank as of April, and that its fees are currently very competitive.
SASSA beneficiaries completely aligns with our target segments, target market, but I think we're also sensitive around the history around SASSA beneficiaries being exploited in terms of being sold products that they don't need, being charged for services they didn't actually acquire, So we're very cautious around it, and hence there won't be any debit orders on those accounts. Right? We're very conscious of that. We will not run any debit orders. But we'll also be guided by SASSA. If they feel that the beneficiary should get access to certain services, then we'll also enable that.
While it may be very, very exciting to have a digital and more modern bank, what remains key is that a bank suits a consumer's pocket and that the unbanked are financially included and that there's, of course, easy access. There's still a couple of months left before these new banks are up and running. So in the meantime, it will be very important to see what the existing banks do in order to retain their current customers and also the market share. Diabosito, SABC News, Pretoria.